Welcome everyone to the L7C podcast Dragon Ball edition. Today we are talking about Dragon Ball Super manga chapter 98. We are in the final battle against Cell Max, titled Gamma 2's Resolve. We have the Dragon Ball Expert with us, Mr. Mitch Oso. How are you doing today?
Oh, doing pretty good. How about yourself?
I'm doing well, man. Doing well. We are getting close to the end of the Dragon Ball Super superhero arc, and it's looking like gonna hit it nail on the head. Said this a couple months ago. 99 is gonna be Beast Gohan, and then 100 starts the new arc.
Yep. But about time we got something right there, and just I need the new year here, man. I need the new year. I need 2024, man. That's when all the real shit happens. Finally.
So yeah, Mitch, let's just get right into their fight in Cell Max, and most of it's similar to the movie, but there's few differences. So what's going on in this fight?
So it starts off the manga chapter just kind of went a little crazy here on my screen. Well, just for everyone's sake, chapter 98, Gamma 2's Resolve, starts off with Fat Gotenks just getting his shit smacked around by Cell Max. The first thing that sticks out that's a little bit different than the movie, at least I recall, is that while Gotenks is getting messed up here, 18 actually joins in and kind of smacks Gotenks around and actually, I'll say like she basically volleyball spikes him into Cell Max and that's what causes Cell Max to get the crack on his head, if you remember from the movie there, and go on to Piccolo a little bit surprised that they were able to achieve that, and 18 makes a little joke about Gotenks actually even in his fat form being useful, and then we got the same comedic stuff with Gotenks' pants getting kind of fried off and his rear end is exposed, just like in a movie and whatnot. But then, kind of in the normal stuff, we get Gamma 2 telling everyone his plan, basically, that, they all need to just, distract Cell Max with just some key blasts from afar, and that, he's going to go up into space and he's going to, try to damage Cell Max. And that's how it starts. He flies off into space, go on and Piccolo and all them. They start doing do their thing. Krillin, who's in the space or the shuttle with Bulma and Pan, he joins the fight because he has a little important task here in just a second. And Gamma 2 powers up like a lot, and he starts rushing down towards the planet and right towards Cell Max. And Cell is just kind of he's not taking any damage from anyone's stuff. He's not really too focused on anyone in particular. He does um, take a shot at 18 and he fires a key blast out of his mouth. It's actually kind of cool here, though. I don't remember this in the movie, and this is actually kind of slick. Krillin joins the fight. He throws a destructo disc and actually splits the key blast in half. And it's kind of like the scene from like Armageddon, where the asteroid misses Earth because it splits in half and goes one way, the other way, blah blah blah. And Krillin shows up, and he does a solar flare in front of Cell Max to blind him a little bit, and everyone braces for cover. And Gamma 2 comes crashing down into Cell Max, but before he makes full contact, um, Cell Max recovers just enough to stick his arm up to block Gamma 2. And after the collision and the dust settles, Cell 2, we see his arm. His left arm has been ripped in half, just from the forearm down, just completely gone. Gamma 2 lies now on the ground, all wide eyed, and obviously he's dead now, just like in the movie. And Cell Max is about to just completely stomp the remains of Gamma 2. but Piccolo steps in, goes into his orange form, and holds his foot up so that they can get Gamma 2's body out of the way. And the rest of the Z fighters that are there, they continue on with their barrage of attacks and whatnot. Gamma 1 grabs 2, takes his body over to Dr. Hedo, and Krillin then approaches Piccolo, telling Piccolo that he needs to go big, just like back in the World Martial Arts Tournament at the end of. And Piccolo then remembers that, and while he's in his orange form, he gets big, same size as Cell Max, just like in the movie. There's a very, very good illustration of this, completely, borderline, completely different art style on page 23 of the chapter, where we see Piccolo in his full sized form, pushing Cell Max back. Just a little more attention to detail with photo. It's the illustration, so looks pretty good. And then we just get a little bit of fighting of Orange Piccolo in his big form, just kind of smacking Cell Max back. And then this is where Gohan then realizes that Piccolo can actually do this. He's never seen it before since he wasn't born. Whenever Piccolo at least showed this last time, and he says that victory is looks like victory is ours, and Piccolo has to actually educate him that getting bigger doesn't actually make himself stronger. It's just an imitation tactic. But Piccolo pulls out the last remaining Senzu bean that he had. He's about to give it to Gohan, and he gives him the pep talk that, if anyone is strong enough to, finish the job, then it's definitely Gohan. And Gohan is kind of just a little surprised to hear that. I don't know why. This has always been who Gohan should be. So yeah, he's about to toss him the Senzu bean, but Cell Max blasts it out of Piccolo's hand, and it goes flying into rubble. And as Cell Max is beating up on Piccolo, Gohan, the other fighters are looking for that Senzu bean real quick, and they get smacked around, and Gohan gets tossed around and knocked out of a Super Saiyan form. But we find out that Han is the one who gets the Senzu bean. I honestly do not recall if that is how she learns to fly in the movie. It's been so long. But Han has her moment to shine here. She goes and gets the Senzu bean as it falls into a pit, a ravine. And then she flies, gives it to Gohan. Gohan eats it and goes into his ultimate form. And then we see a little bit more fighting with Gamma 1 and Piccolo, just, getting their punches in with Cell Max. It looks pretty much like, Piccolo kind of has the upper hand at this moment, but then it doesn't last too long, and Cell reclaims his dominance over everyone, and he just pummels Piccolo into the ground, and then, yeah, Gohan joins in. And they have this sweet little like combo, moves in which they're doing to try to get the one up on Cell Max, probably from all their training that they did for the Tournament of Power. That little training coming in here, and Gohan just starts just blasting the hell out of Cell Max. Piccolo rallies the troops, and he tells them all, hey, whatever it takes here, just everyone just give it all they got and don't hold back, and we're just going to attack his head all together. And then that's sort of how the chapter ends, with Cell and Max approaching, and everyone just recouping one last time for one big attack, and that's it. So that's how the chapter ends.
Yeah, the biggest difference was the pan thing, because that's not how she flew in the movie, because she didn't have any real interaction with Gohan until after the final fight.
Yeah.
So she had that small interaction with him before the final attack. So, and her learning how to fly in the emergency of trying to help her dad, I felt like that was a better touch than just the rocks getting destroyed and Krillin yelling at her, "You gotta fly, Pan." So
You know, much agreed. It's nice that they have Pan getting involved, and hopefully that just actually will lead to Pan being a important character, like, in the future as she grows up. Kind of like maybe the same kind of, I don't want to say the importance that she had in GT, but like a step up from that. But I mean, yeah, a character has to start somewhere in terms of getting you know, their their arc established. So that but
yeah, and
fingers crossed
yep.
that Pan becomes the main protagonist someday. So
So that was it with 80, I mean with 98. So November will be 99 and the way it's looking, we'll finally get the manga drawn version of Beast Gohan and that should end it. I mean, again, like we said at the beginning, always said 100 would be the new arc or shows of the new arc, and it's really looking like that's going to be it because Piccolo is going to do his fight. He's going to start getting killed. I'm interested to
hmm
see how they animate, how they draw illustrate the Beast Gohan transformation. If they add some stuff to it, so that's something to look forward to next month.
what we should do is, and someone else will do it because it seems like every content creator listens to the L7C because every time we mention something, it's just what someone else brings up in a week or so here. So, yep, shout out to you guys. Thanks for listening. Um, no, what'll be interesting is if we could pull up the manga panels from when Gohan first went, Super Saiyan
Oh,
2 against Perfect Cell,
mm-hmm.
and compare those to what we'll see next month. Because obviously, during the television running of the Super Saiyan 2 transformation, it shared a lot of similarities to what they did in the movie. So I can't recall exactly how the manga looked for Super Saiyan 2. I distinctly have the anime in my head, but yeah, that'd be something to compare and contrast to next month is how much do they look alike?
Yeah, definitely gotta look at that. So I'm pretty sure we'll have the side by sides next month. I'll be interested to because obviously they just say next month, but I wonder what date it will be next month because chapters typically drop the third Thursdays of November, but that would be Thanksgiving.
Trying to see if it tells me here on the app. Normally it used to do that.
Hmm.
But granted, I am on the app and I don't see anything, but I ponder if I go here online. Let's take a look here.
Let me just while you're doing that, I'm just gonna scroll backwards to last. Let's see if I can get to last June, May, April. Be this one.
It's funny. I'm actually looking back last year.
Hmm.
I forgot we had a 3 month break between
Oh,
chapter 87 and 88 because 87 came out August 9th, 2022, and then we didn't get 88 until December 20th. So can't even look back here to see.
oh yeah, because I'm looking at That's interesting because 87 was the very last chapter of the Granola arc. That was well, I remember that podcast very well because Dragon Ball decided they wanted to shut the world down and they had the Black Frieza unveil on that day and then they took a break.
Bro, I'm here. I am here on viz.com,
Hmm.
and just like in the app, it is not telling me when the next chapter will drop. What if we don't get a chapter next month?
Oh, and and then they make 99 in December, so they start January with 100.
Bro, I don't like they need to stop. They need to put it out every month, like for real. Like we don't need these unnecessary breaks for them just to time this shit up. Like just make chapter 100 in December, just the ending of freaking Goku and Vegeta's fight there, a little bit of Broly talk, and maybe give us a little teaser of what's coming. That's it. It's like, don't, and if we don't have a chapter in November, it's like, be
It'll,
annoyed.
it'll be interesting. Yeah, now because I'm looking at that break because now that was crazy because they did the Black Frieza debut and then the movie came out.
Yep.
So then they took the break and then obviously we've had the retelling of the movie since. So well, that'll be interesting. I'm just trying to gonna have to look through to see when the November one was dropped, but we'll see. We'll see how the manga goes because it should be over next month, and then we can go into the last month of 2023 just full speculating on what's going on. But because they have not heard your opinion on any of this stuff as the Dragon Ball expert, obviously Dragon Ball took over media last week
Yeah.
with the New York Comic Con and the announcement of the new Dragon Ball series coming out in 2024 fall. They've already heard my opinions on it on the live special. So, Mitch, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I heard. I listened to that podcast. So shout out to JJ and Mal for joining Martin there and discussing all that. You guys did fantastic as always. Appreciate you much. And again, get rid of that whiteboard full of errors. And
Well, you
uh,
heard JJ. We're not the targets anymore. It's the real people.
well, about time, because all we do is we just spit facts, and by facts I mean opinions, and and we ain't trying to uh, tell you the future. We're just trying to explain the present to you. So just
Hey,
take it for
JJ.
what it is. So,
JJ, he showed nerve, man. He was calling people out by name.
oh, I heard him. He called out geekdom straight up, and then you're just like, oh, okay, well, we're there. We are calling people out.
I was shocked. I was like, oh, if we're going this route, I'm gonna have to sit up because this is gonna like this might make it to them.
Let me tell you, like geekdom has to be shivering because like the fact is that like
Oh,
you know
bro.
we
Last week
like
they
we
had a celebration. Him
uh,
and Chronicles. They were doing the whole like if this was like a WWE, they were doing the remember when you said I was wrong? You said I was wrong. F you. Both of them were going nuts.
they just it, and the thing is that this is it's okay. Let me get back to the original question, and then and then we'll make fun of them a little bit here. So Dragon Ball, if I recall it correctly, it's called Daima,
Yeah.
correct? Yeah, Dragon Ball Daima. I was actually more pissed watching that Comic Con and not being able to actually watch everything that they were showing because,
Mm-hmm.
like what you said on the podcast, though, the people who pay get to actually see the material
Mm-hmm.
straight up, whereas the rest of us who don't pay but watch live streams, we have to wait until there's an official release. I was more pissed off not because that's how things are ran, but because they hyped it up by telling us so much to actually tune into it. And I'm just like, just when people do that, I'm just like, I'm tuning in for you to show me what you want to show me, not I want you to listen. I didn't want to listen to people talk and then have to scope out on Twitter for an hour after. But anyways, I digress. In terms of Daima, though, I'm not I'm not sad, and I wasn't sad, and I wasn't like happy. I wasn't going crazy. It's this is how I phrase it. It's or how did I phrase it? It's not. I'm going to like it, but it's not what I want. So well, I want the Moro arc. I want the Granola arc. I want us to get going towards Black Frieza and all of them. That's what I want. And Diamond's going to come, and it's going to take resources. It's going to take the entire team, if I recall correctly, that would normally have been animating Super, and it's going to put them towards Daima. And because Daima appears to be just like a new series, it's going to be like it's. I don't want to say it's going to be canon. it doesn't appear that it's going to be canon to what Dragon Ball Z and like Super, or it's just going to be its own thing. So it's going to have like its own canon per se. Um, and it's just like I'm going to enjoy it. I mean, I enjoy GT, and we don't consider GT canon. Well, I think it should be, but whatever. So I mean, I'm surprised that we have to wait a year to get it.
Mm-hmm.
I have to wait until this time next year to get it. And it's like maybe that's what they do next year whenever we're sitting here and we're talking about this and we're talking about chapter 110. If just math works itself out, maybe they'll do a hiatus with the manga again and they'll start showing the Daima. And like what you said, though, there's going to be what, 20 episodes? How
Mm-hmm.
often are they going to put these out? I don't think I can do a 24-minute episode once a month. Like, I need to do, they need to do what they did back with like Z back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Because you remember they would show like, Toonami would show, it would seem like Toonami would show like 30 episodes, new episodes at a time, and then go for like a few months break
Yeah.
and then just reshow it. Like, that's what I need. I need like, if you wanted to like 1 week show like, 3 episodes and then a few weeks later then show another, that'll work. But I just can't do one episode a month. Shit, Netflix doesn't even do that.
Yeah. The only reason I brought up that once a month thing is just because, like you said, and I said earlier on that live thing, it's the timing is weird. Like the fact that this is coming out exactly a year from now. So that
Mm,
means if that starts in 2024, let's say it starts October 19th, 2024. That means that's going to go into 2025, which means, and I said on that thing, we might not get Moro till 2026 or 2027,
a lot of
if
things that,
that, because there's going to be a movie. Like we sooner or later there'll be another movie.
yeah, a lot of things that you guys said, like, I mean, people would have to work overtime for us to get a lot of things in the next like 3 or 4 years because,
Mm-hmm.
like you had mentioned, that um, if Daima comes out in a year, strongly doubt that we would get the English voice actors
Yeah,
at least for let's just say that's 6 months before we actually would see it. So we're talking that is 2025 right there. The same people that are illustrating then Daima, they would be the same people then doing Super.
mm-hmm.
So if they are animating until the end of 24 into 25, then maybe they're not then done with Super until 26, God forbid. Well, no, that would be the Japanese. They would do, they would have the subbed version in like 26. Hell, you might not get an English anime until 27. And,
and
you
that's
know,
and that's Daima. So then even if like Moro starts in Japan in 27, English ain't gonna get that till 30.
I don't know. Yeah, it's wild, man. And it shouldn't be that way because, Dragon Ball pours in so much money. You always pull the financials every year, and it's always $1 billion. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how can you not? How can you not expand the studios and just get more animators in there, to do it? It's like,
Yeah, I would say with like a lot of the current animes that are going on right now, like the My Heroes and the Demon Slayers and all the other stuff, they have simulcasts where they'll come out in Japan, then like Demon Slayer, My Hero especially this, they'll come out in Japan, then 2 weeks that episode would come out in English. So the English one would only be like 2 weeks behind, which
and that's not what we get. It's wild.
it's not. And
That's
then I
not
just,
what we got.
and also because these voice actors, they have the stuff behind the scenes that they're doing for Dragon Ball. Like, I mean, it's still the original voice actors that do the well in Japan. For Heroes, I know it's promotional, but they still got to go in the studio. Obviously,
Mhm.
the video games, like hell, the English and Japanese voice actors, they also got to come in and keep doing Xenoverse 2 lines because
Yep.
Xenoverse 2 keeps adding stuff. And then they're working on Tenkaichi 3. Who knows whenever there's I feel like there's gonna be a new Dragon Ball game in a couple of years. I feel like they're gonna go like a Switch type route soon, but those video games pull them in like commercials, and then they're like, "Oh yeah, now you got to get in the real studio and do the show." So it's
Yeah.
like I just feel like it's gonna be a long time because again, we don't know if they're doing this weekly. If they did a weekly 24, 20 episodes, it's gonna be done in like a couple months. But it's like we're waiting a couple months, and then we start 2025 with what? We're gonna get a movie trailer. We're gonna get Tenkaichi, Xeno. Like, what are we getting? So
It
I
just,
don't like the timing, man. I really don't. That this is coming out a whole year from now because a whole year from this point, we're gonna be in a new manga arc,
you know,
knee
Daima
deep.
just Daima just seems like it's just like a just kind of like a fun side project.
Yeah.
It's like it is in between like what the promotional anime for Heroes is
Hmm.
to than what the manga is. It's just somewhere in this happy middle because it just hell maybe for all we know we find out that this is where Toriyama like retires. Like this was the last thing that he truly wanted to do
Hmm.
before retirement was whatever it is that's been conjuring up in his brain for years. This must be it because he already had this semi-similar idea with GT with Goku like being little. So it's not like this is it's obviously it's not a copy of GT. We do say that a lot of things are copied and pasted or whatnot, kind of jokingly, and there is similarities with that, but like he's clearly wanted to do something with this, and maybe it's kind of like what you guys said on when you guys had the discussion about it, and that maybe this is just for either the younger generation that doesn't know like Z too much. Maybe this is kind of a rehashing for him, kind of in a way, with making these people kids. I don't know, or it's just to sell toys, and we as the diehards are just going to get glued to it because we're suckers. We're starving leeches for anything Dragon Ball related. So.
Yeah, because it's it's weird that this is what we're using to celebrate the 40th year anniversary.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's why I'm just like, all right, so we're going back. We're
We're
making
cel-
everyone
we're
kids.
we're celebrating the 40 year of Dragon Ball Z by creating something that probably isn't even canon to the material.
Yeah, yeah. And people are just going to be waiting. I mean, sitting there waiting for more. Oh, and because by then, I mean, and we'll see in chapter 100 where this new arc is going. Because if it is Black Frieza, that means this is going to be over. Super is about to be over if Black Frieza is the next arc. Because you would assume that's the last arc before the World Tournament and all that stuff.
I think I saw that in terms of the timeline, Super will continue after the end of Z, like like the television show, like Dragon Ball Super season 2 or 3, whatever it's freaking called. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it's what a time, man. What a time.
I know it's weird. Then they posted the official trailer on YouTube and all that stuff, and it's just like, wow. And then everyone talking about it. I mean, it was the number two trending thing in the United States, and most people didn't even have the official trailer yet by then.
You know,
But then, but yeah, back to the other thing. When that happened, the leakers rejoiced. Chronicles geekdom. Basically, the "I told you so" to every, especially Chronicles. Chronicles tagging people. I was like, oh my goodness. So I'm like, okay, they're all doing the "I told you so's" right now.
it's just really ridiculous. It's like, you guys have been wrong for years, and finally, and the thing is that they're not even truly like right. Like,
Mm-hmm.
like it's kind of like they're half right. Like there is actually finally some sort of new anime coming out, web series, whatever you want to call it. And it's like, but you guys have been saying that since 2018. So you guys say it every month for 5 years. And it wasn't until this year that some of them were just like, yeah, that they tweet at each other. Yeah, you guys can't really, you shouldn't really be saying that because the fandom will just eat you up. But well, yeah, rightfully so. You guys are friggin' fools. But it's just, and the fact that it's not the continuation of Super. It's something different. It's like, okay, I mean, like, you guys are just, you guys are picking for straws at this point. It's like you guys are struggling to get credit, but oh well. Whatever it is that makes them sleep better at night. I mean, I don't know how they've slept in the past 5 years, being wrong all the time. So I mean, kudos, guys. You guys were actually able to close your eyes and not have a nightmare of some random schmuck or another freaking Russian bot ripping into your ass and calling you stupid. But
Look, they'll tell you they haven't been. I literally just saw their tweets going just absolutely crazy, congratulating each other, basically, like, oh, never gave up, blah, blah, calling people out, all that shit. It was just like, I
you
was
want
like,
to know,
wow.
you want to know what I can't. I'm trying to think of a meme or a comparison, but when they're all celebrating that, they finally got Dragon Ball, Daima correctly. You know that meme that has the athletes that are on the um what's this what I can't think of it. My brain is dumb at the moment. What's the stand called, whenever you win like an event or like, you're like track.
Podium, the
Yeah, the
podium.
podium. Oh my God. Yeah, I'm talking about the GIF with the guys on the podium and there's someone at the very top and the person at the
Yeah,
very bottom is like
yeah, he's
popping the
chewing the metal.
champagne
Yep, yep.
and everyone's looking at them. That's what they are right now. And I can't think of who's at the top of that podium. It's someone else in some other fandom probably, but they're at the bottom. They're just popping the champagne and they're in last place right now. They're just taking whatever one they can get.
It's so weird because they also just said, like, oh yeah, you'll get more. First, you don't show the trailer, obviously, okay, and then you unleash the trailer, but then you're like, you'll hear more at the Dragon Ball video game event in January about the show. And I'm like, well, I mean, y'all have from January, you'll have what, 9 months to get it done, or it depends on what time in fall. We're saying October. The Dragon Ball is not going to do it in like August. I doubt they start in August.
Yeah. Nah, I think it'll be an October, November kind of thing. And the manga chapter, I assume the manga is going to continue all throughout the next year. I'll be honest with you, man. If once they're done with this, if there's no manga for 9 months before it
That's
comes
going to
out,
be crazy. I
I will,
no way.
I will, I might die.
I
I'm
don't.
out
I
of a
don't know
job.
if they could do. I don't know if they could financially afford that.
I don't know. They make so much damn money every year. They could take a vacation, but I'm just like, shit. I'm out of a job. I gotta fight. I gotta become a wrestling expert at that point. I gotta, I gotta get CM Punk like back into
Oh,
wrestling just so I can have something to talk about. I don't know, but
oh
yeah,
well.
that'd be,
Depending
that'd
on
be.
how November goes, that may happen. So,
Hey, all my Chicago listeners, respectfully, fuck you. Anyways, so we'll talk about that another day.
but
But
I don't know. It's an interesting time because now we're like, all right, we know an anime is coming in a whole year from now in fall. We don't know how many, if it's going to be weekly or monthly, bi-weekly, whatever. We know we're about to have a new arc in
mhm.
Super. So it's an interesting time because we know new stuff is coming. It's just, will people resonate with this new stuff? Because it's like, do you really want to see the Dragon Ball version of Baby Looney Tunes? That's basically what it is.
And well, kind of like what we said back in September when we were trying to, set your expectations how, um, with how Comic-Con would go, and we were
Mm-hmm.
like, just anticipate that nothing's going to happen. So then you're not pissed off, and you're not, you know, just your day's ruined. You just you just understand that you might be set up for failure. And it's the same with Diamond. Like don't think that this is going to be what defines your Dragon Ball experience, and this isn't going to be. I don't suspect that this will be something in which you'll look back in 20 years and you're like, this changed everything. It's just gonna you just enjoy it for the content in which they give you, but pray that what we want comes sooner than what it might actually.
Shoot, I had other anime people hitting me up saying, "This is what you got. This is what you guys as a Dragon Ball. This is what you guys are coming with in 2024." I was like, "Well, yeah."
That's the thing is like if I was a big fan of other animes that are
Hmm.
very successful and I'm seeing the like how the fuck is Dragon Ball still on top? Like because it's kind of like trying to think of I keep thinking of like Tom Brady because of like Tom Brady if especially if Tom Brady didn't win his Super Bowl in Tampa Bay or like 5 years ago or like those remaining years with the Patriots, it's like Dragon Ball could be seen like his career, but at like the tail end, still very popular. Somehow makes the Pro Bowl, even though he does it isn't worth it, whatever. And but then you got like the Patrick Mahomes characters and the Justin Herbert or whoever else, Josh Allen, just whoever, Jalen Hurts. They're all just like, yeah, we're doing way better than Tom over there, but he's still getting all the he's still getting all the media attention. But
Wild man. It's wild. Anything
somehow Dragon
else?
Ball's still up there,
Oh yeah,
still running.
it'll always just be up there just because of the fandom and the success it's had over four. I mean, that's what you could say. Not a lot of animes can say that they've been going for well, there's
40 years.
40 years of different stuff.
Yeah. It's funny though. Um, how old is Goku right now? Do we know?
I would assume he's well. The bad thing is you have to look on the age thing. I would assume he's in his. I would actually assume
I
he's
think
in
he's
his
50.
40s, 50s, 40s.
I think he's 50. So, and we met Goku whenever he was like 6, 5, somewhere in there, or maybe late single digits, 8 years old. I don't know how old Goku was in Dragon Ball, but like 40 years, I guess. No, it's going actually with with his age. It's kind of like Toy Story with how Andy was in the first three movies. Like,
Looks like. Well, I don't know if I want to trust them, but CBR said Goku was 11 years old when he started in Dragon Ball. Um,
11 years old when he met Bulma.
which I
I
mean,
think that
I wouldn't be surprised because now that we know hindsight 2020, how Saiyans don't have a big growth spurt until they're like 15, 16, which he did for the tournament. That's how old he was during the
yeah,
Piccolo
you're
fight.
right because I remember when he was training with Gohan in the hyperbolic time chamber, and he said, he was comparing to how strong of a fighter Gohan was compared to what he was as a kid, and that they weren't even comparable.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that that dialogue makes sense though. Just
I mean, because you could just see the thing that we've seen on the four. I mean, Goku has two kids and he has a grandchild, and his oldest kid is married and has a kid. So it's like his whole family. I mean, we've seen the whole family progression.
yeah,
Like they keep doing
indeed.
this, we might see Pan have a kid and he be a great grandfather.
Yep.
So I don't know, man. Anything else on Dragon Ball? The news we'll be having new stuff soon.
Nope. Nothing at the moment. Just waiting, man. Just waiting.
Yep. So the new year is gonna bring new Dragon Ball content. I will say that it is a funny thing because you talked about being out of a job if they don't do new stuff. But man, I will say the fans have been like, you know what? Let's go listen to the old L7C Dragon Ball stuff because they've been listening to your old stuff, man.
Sorry for all the wrongness that you listen to it on there where I tell you what I hope for and it never comes true. So
I don't
for
know, man. They've been listening to some old school moral arc, some granola arc. It's like, oh, remember when they didn't fully know what was happening.
Well, it's this crystal ball that we look through, man. It is really foggy all the time, and we don't have any cleaner for it either. It's the magic 8 ball that's like broke, man.
Jesus. Oh man. But with that being said, thank you everyone for listening to the L7C podcast. If you didn't listen to the other live stream just about the movie, it is on the YouTube channel, so check out the L7C YouTube. We'll be back. I think November they'll have a chapter, and we'll be wrapping up the super arc, and maybe we'll get some new tidbits on Beast Gohan's transformation, things like that. And with that being said, L7C signing out. Thank you for listening to this episode of the L7C podcast. Be sure to like, rate, review, and subscribe to the channel. Follow us on all social media platforms, and we'll be talking to you guys soon. Take care.